Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. We've got a great show for you today. We've got Justin Gage, former two-sport athlete at the University of Missouri and 8-year NFL veteran, joining us. Also, Melanie Steen, Stl Tv reporter, will be with XFL St. Louis Battlehawks, Brandon Williams. So we've got that. We've got a tribute to Demetrius Johnson. Our topic today, though, is transitioning from professional football back to the real world. So stay with us for this and much more coming up next on Inside Sports. Welcome to the show. In our first segment today, Inside Sports reporter Melanie Steen sits down in our studio with Brandon Williams of the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Without a doubt, the excitement is building.
It's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see where it could go.
I just take the opportunity it was given, and I'm excited for it.
St. Louis native Brandon Williams is leading the front office for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Right now, he is supervising anywhere from 10 to 12 full-time employees. But once the season gets underway, that number could soar to 30 or even 40 employees.
In my position, I'm pretty much like the team president. I oversee all of our fan engagement, game day operations, so the execution of an actual game. We got 5 home games, managing the marketing team, the sponsorship team, the ticket revenue team, everything that is attached to the business side. That's pretty much what I handle.
This former NFL wide receiver got his start playing football at Hazelwood East. He was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers in 2006. He would then go on to play for the St. Louis Rams before finishing out his playing career with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He tells me he feels good about the XFL and its fan base, but wants to amp up the experience this time around.
We're going to add some different fan engagement pieces, different style of watch parties, and kind of give a little bit more premium feel, some different things like that.
Dallas native Marcel Aitman was also a wide receiver in the NFL. He was drafted by the Oakland Raiders in 2018. He then signed with the Arizona Cardinals, but eventually he would end up back in the Lone Star State.
It's kind of like a perfect deal for me. It set out, teams coming here to play, ain't really got to leave, and the system is fit around the same system that I'm kind of used to, and so it's a great deal. Plus AJ, having some time with him is great as well. So it's just a blessing.
Both of these former NFL wide receivers have something else in common: their faith.
My faith drives everything. That's kind of my foundation. It was carried me through this entire ups and downs of just my journey through football, through family, through just through everything.
Both admit that being an athlete comes with extreme highs, but also the lows when trying to adjust to a new normal.
To pray. Number one, pray, find that spiritual light, find that spiritual guidance that's within you that you may need to find. And then reestablish that purpose that you had started to set out on, or if you have not found that purpose in your life, really start to think about what is it that I can do in this lifetime that brings the most impact to the world and the most joy to me.
For Williams, he's had to reinvent himself many times. Going back to school and earning 2 degrees was a big part of that.
It's something about finishing something in your life that opens up another door for you, right? And so when I actually got the opportunity to go back to school and finish the degree, it felt like this weight was lifted off me. All these other opportunities started to open up for me.
He also wrote sort of a playbook for other athletes on how to manage their money. It's called Millionaire Mindset: 7 Principles Athletes Need for Financial Freedom.
Because I wanted to make sure that I told a little bit of my story, but also taught some lessons in that book.
Aitman has also developed other interests. He currently has his own foundation that gives college scholarships to high schoolers in the Dallas area. He's a small business owner and, alongside his personal trainer, works with kids in the area through their joint venture known as Circle Performance.
Putting back into these kids, and that's kind of what's been sitting on my heart where I know kind of God has been guiding me to do while I've been off. So it's been something special to kind of see exactly what we kind of been doing out here. But those are some of the things that keeps me busy as well.
And while Aitman is happily grounded in Texas, he's certainly looking forward to spending some time in the Lou.
It's gonna be exciting, man, just to bring that energy to the city on top of the energy they already have, and having a football team is someone to come and just celebrate and support and be behind. And the city itself is a great city, so I'm excited just to bring all that energy to the city and bring some excitement and jump into that community and see what that community is like.
And welcome to Inside Sports. Joining me now is Justin Gage. 8-year career in the NFL, played both basketball and football at the University of Missouri, and he's right here. Justin, thanks a lot for joining us in Inside Sports.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Man, I tell you, incredible career at Mizzou. I had so much fun watching you on the basketball court. I thought of you, I would always see you diving for balls and bringing the energy to the team, and, playing two sports like that, going from football to basketball, it must have been quite a juggling act.
Yeah, it was. It was quite a juggling act, but more than anything, it was fulfilling for me to have the opportunity to play football, go through several months with the team, competing for one common goal, and then to leave that behind and go over to a basketball court and join a different group of guys, again, competing for a common goal and work with those guys. So, it was very fulfilling for me.
We had a lot of fun watching you at Mizzou, going up and getting those diving catches and, just skying through the air to bring it down. And you brought the same intensity to the football team as you did to the basketball team, and it really worked out for you.
Yeah, so the big thing there was, coming over from football to basketball, I was a little behind what the basketball guys were doing. They've had opportunity to work out all year, shoot basketballs, work on the dribbling. For me, it was like I had to start over and learn again. So my big contribution was, what can I do without the ball in my hands? So that's defense, that's set screens, that's get guys open. So whatever I could do to contribute to the success of our team.
A lot of people want to play one sport 12 months out of the year, but, what are the thoughts of using different muscles, playing different sports? If you're a baseball player and you're a pitcher, you pitch all the time. But, if you play football, then you're using other muscles. When you play basketball, it's different full range of motion issues. What are your thoughts on playing two sports, and is it beneficial?
Yeah, personally, I believe it is beneficial. I believe you get an opportunity to learn how to succeed, to learn how to work with others in two different environments, right? In multiple environments if you play more than one sport. And so a lot of times people get focused on trying to be very great at one sport, especially at a young age. But there's a competitive nature that they miss out on. So one thing I tell a lot of kids that especially do multiple sports is continue to play those sports as long as you can. You don't know what your future is going to hold for you. You don't know what opportunities are going to be there. But continue to grow, continue to explore those opportunities, because one day it will come to an end, or it will come to a point where you have to choose one. So while you can, maximize your potential.
Well, you were a scholarship athlete in football at the University of Missouri, and I guess after your junior year, you took it to the next level. You were drafted in the 5th round in the NFL, enjoyed an 8-year career, and I wanted to talk a little bit about transitioning from the NFL into regular society. You signed your initial rookie deal. It was a nice deal. You're making, $400,000 a year, for 3-4 years. But isn't the trick is to get past that first contract? I mean, if you want to make money and get paid, you got to stay in the NFL. And a lot of people's careers are what, 2-3 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So the average is just over 2 years in the NFL. And so a lot of guys feel like once they've made it to the NFL, they've made it. And, that's just half of the story. It's very challenging to make it to the NFL. It's even harder to stay in the NFL. And so, you play a year or two and the contracts aren't guaranteed, so you're still fighting for that position on the team. You're fighting for the contract. But the goal is, if you can make it to that second contract, that's where you get an opportunity to make some big bucks, some sustainable money, things that can change your life.
So you had a 1-year contract, and then your agent, Jim Steiner, it must have been you had a couple really good years there with Tennessee. And I think 1 year you had like 55 receptions, 4 or 5 touchdowns. and like 780 yards. That's a pretty good year. And if you put that in the middle of the pack of wide receivers, you're making pretty good money. And it looked like your agent did you right on that last contract.
Yeah, absolutely. So he did a phenomenal job. And so my original contract in Chicago was my rookie deal, which took me to 4 years with Chicago. After that, I was able to sign a 1-year deal with Tennessee. And, that was great for me because that gave me a chance to go out there, play for 1 year, show them what I can do, and then go back to the negotiating tables. And at that point, Jim Steiner, my agent, he took it in his hands. He was like, all right, I can take care of you from here. Right. And so that was an opportunity for me to say, all right, you handle the business side, let me focus on the football side. So being able to go back to the table and get some guaranteed money in there was very beneficial to me.
When you think about some of the rookies coming into the league, if you're a number 1 draft pick and you're a lottery pick and you get these big contracts, that's one thing. But, if you're, a 6th, 7th round player, you might be getting close to the league minimum and you're happy to make the team. But you're still hanging out with all the big dogs.
Yes.
They're your teammates. Do the Marshall Falks and, do the top dogs, do they usually pick up the check or do they make the rookies do it sometimes, because they're not making the money. They don't have the guarantee.
Yeah, no, if you're fortunate enough, you're going to have a guy, a first rounder that'll say, hey, you guys got the checks, right? And then when the checks come out, they're like, I'm just playing with you. I'll take over. I'll take the check from here. And so, I was fortunate enough to have a guy in the name of Dave Terrell, who was one of the receivers of my group. And so I remember we had to go out for a rookie dinner and, the guys brought their wives, girlfriends, all this stuff and, raked up this big check. And my thought was, all right, how am I going to sneak out of here? Like, I'm out of here because this will be my entire check if I try to, pay for this. And then Dave was like, don't worry about it. I got it. You guys just relax, have fun, enjoy the process. So, it is tough. Being a late round guy where you're not seeing the money that the big guys are making, it's a lot of peer pressure, a lot of challenge to live up to that hype. But, you've got to stay within your means.
In the lifestyle, when you're in the NFL, you live up here. You're going to get a big house and then you're going to fly around in the off season. You're going to go vacationing around the world. And, it's a lifestyle. But then comes a point in time when, the career is coming to an end. And then all of a sudden, you can't really maintain that same lifestyle. And if you do, you're going to blow through your money. There was guys when I was growing up, Joe Gilliam, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
He ended up living under a bridge. Louis Sharp, of the football Cardinals, a guy, first round pick and, all pro. And, after the end of his career, he was like bankrupt. I read a statistic where I think it was like 1 out of 6 NFL players will go bankrupt within like 5 years of the end of their career.
Yes.
What's the success or what's the secret to not blowing your money and maintaining a proper lifestyle?
Yeah, the key is while you're playing, live within your means. Understand how much you're making and start planning for your future. Because every guy that enters the NFL, they feel like they're going to be there for 10 to 15 years. They're going to make enough money to live the rest of their life happy and whatnot. The part we fail to realize is at some point in time, that career is going to stop in the NFL. Those checks aren't going to come in anymore. So what am I going to do from that point on? And that's the hard part to adjust to. While you're playing and you're getting checks, you feel like you can, buy the house and you're not thinking about insurances, or you're buying the cars, not thinking about the insurances. But when you're done playing and those checks aren't coming back in, how do you still pay for that stuff, that lifestyle that you've grown accustomed to living? So the big key right there is to live within your means, make sure you're putting money away for your future. That way, when you're done playing, you have some sort of safety net to help you into your next venture.
When is the proper time to start, discussing these things? Is it in high school if you're a blue chipper, or when you're in college? Do you have, individuals, counselors, say, hey, you have a chance to get to the NFL or the next level? Transitioning from the NFL back to normal life, what was the process, and what were some of the biggest obstacles?
The onus is pretty much on yourself. Your agent will help you out. If you have a good agent, they will help you out. But a lot of agents are looking for their next client, right? That's their way of feeding their family. That's the way they make their money. So what I tell guys is the earlier you can start learning the process, learning financial literacy, the better you will be in the long run. There are a ton of guys who, never learn or they learn at a late point, and so the bulk of their money is gone, and now they're trying to find ways to scrape back. So I feel like, you know, the earlier you learn, the better you are, whether that be in college, and nowadays with NIL deals coming, so now you're picking kids out of high school and trying to give them, you know, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. Well, a lot of them don't have the financial literacy, or they may come from a background that, you know, their parents don't have the financial literacy. So now you have parents and kids fighting for the money, or, you know, trying to figure out what to do with that. So I feel like the earlier that you start learning these steps, these things that can help you, the better off you can be.
Is there a depression moment after your football days are over, when, you know, you're not out there and in front of the spotlights? You know, when you're out in front of the spotlight, sometimes you don't want it. But then sometimes when no one's asking anymore, or no one's asking for the autograph, or they don't recognize you in the supermarket, does it weigh on you at all?
Oh, absolutely. It really does. And, you know, it's one thing that a lot of guys don't want to admit to, but it's there. You think about playing the game. So for me, for example, football, I've played it all my life. Always had structure in football. Always had a locker room that I can go to and talk to guys. When things get tough, whether it be on the field or off the field, and you're looking for a way to relieve stress, well, I can go hit people, or people are going to hit me, right? Yeah. So there's ways to combat all that, you know, that energy, that negative, you know, tism that stores up in you. Well, when you're done playing, you don't have that. You know, you're removed from the locker room. You're removed from the group of guys. You don't have that same structure of a schedule that you got this, and this. And so you're really trying to find yourself and figure out, what is it that I can do to make myself useful, to feel like I'm living a life worth living. And that's a big struggle.
I guess the camaraderie is not there day in and day out. Either, you know, you'll have your reunions and, you know, your Christmas parties and things, but you don't have that day-to-day interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's very key. And so it's like you said, you have your reunions, you have times where you get together with the guys, and it's like going that first day of school where you get to go back and see everybody, and, you know, you're just excited as can be. You know, the downside is it doesn't last forever, right? So now you're back into your old ways, and you're trying to figure out, all right, what's next for me? What do I do? How do I fulfill myself from this point on?
Back in the 50s and 60s, 70s, and even in the 80s, you know, football players would have another job in the off season. They may sell insurance or cars or whatever, but they would have to make extra income to support themselves, and it was probably easier for them to transition into life after football. But once the big contracts start coming, and people, you know, you can get, you know, 1 or 2 years of salary could, if you play it right, could take care of the rest of your life in some cases. Then all of a sudden you're done with football, and people are like, what do I do now? It's like, what am I supposed to do? All I know is football. And they go into depression and things, but isn't coaching a great avenue to segue out and to maybe find yourself?
Yes, absolutely. It gives you that feel of being back in the locker room, but now you're in a position where, you know, you're not taking the physical brunt of the game, right?
Yeah.
But the things you've learned, the commitment you've made over so many years, now you get to help the next generation develop those skills, you know, develop that camaraderie, and develop the things that they will need to become successful. You know, just talking to them about the experiences that you face, so that maybe there's some things that they won't have to go through because you've been able to help them out. So for me, I mean, it's been, you know, a lifesaver for me to have the opportunity to coach high school football at a school like CBC, where, you know, I can relate to a lot of these kids and help them on to the next level, help them where they're at in their current stages, and just continue to motivate them.
So how do you like coaching here at CBC? I mean, it's the top program in the Midwest pretty much. I mean, this is almost like, talk about college preparatory. I mean, if this doesn't prepare you for college, nothing will.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's, you know, it's been such a great opportunity for me, because, you know, like I said, you know, I love to be here, love to be around these kids and give back to these kids. But at the same time, it's more, not necessarily that they need me, but it's like I need them. You know, I need to be in this atmosphere. I need to be around this, because this is a part of my life. This is what I've done so much, you know, of my life. More than the majority of my life has been football. Up until, you know, 32, 33 years old, it's always been football. So to be here at this stage and to help develop these young men and develop them for the next stage, help those guys get a head start into whatever the next step in their life is, their next career path, is just a blessing.
It must be pretty cool for the student athletes as well to come in, and there's Justin Gage, you know, former two-sport athlete at Mizzou, and 8 years in the NFL. You've been there. You know, they must, you know, be excited and kind of in awe to see you? Do they kind of pump you for questions and maybe, ask you, what it was like and things like that?
Yeah, they do, because, they're curious also. They want to know what it's like. And, it's great to tell stories and, just give them teaching pointers and whatnot. But the best thing about it is, you inspire a kid, you get them so motivated and they're so happy to be there. They're questioning you. They want to know what it's like, but you see the joy in their eyes. So, when you can get a kid that has an option of, hanging out in the street or something of that nature, or playing a game like this that brings you together with others and gives you an opportunity to work towards one common goal, I mean, it is truly a blessing.
What's your advice to a student athlete, that is aspiring to go to the next level, especially here at CBC? There's a handful of these kids are going D1, big time D1. They're being recruited by Ohio State, Oklahoma, big dog schools all around the country. What do you tell them?
Well, first thing I'll tell them is get your education, right? That's key. No matter how good you are at sports, there's going to be an end date to sports. So get your education so that way if sports doesn't work out for you, you always have something that you can fall back on. And then I tell them, enjoy the process. All right, you're not going to go from your junior year in high school to being a professional athlete. It doesn't work like that as much as you want it to, right? So enjoy the day-by-day process and take it a day at a time. So every day you have, every opportunity you get, just make yourself a little bit better. Focus in, lock in, and just enjoy that entire process, and then you'll be happy with the results.
You were drafted as an underclassman, hadn't graduated yet from the University of Missouri. You came back and recently fulfilled a promise to your family.
Yes.
Would you share that with us before we let you go on this break?
Yeah, so I was very excited to have the opportunity to be able to move on and go play professional football. And so in my eyes, that was it. If I make it as a professional athlete, I'm set for life. And my parents had always told me, hey, we don't mind you leaving to go play, pursuing a dream that you've always had. It's like, but make sure you come back and get your education. It's probably the most important thing that you'll ever do, and it's probably the most rewarding thing that you'll ever do. And growing up, I'd always see my dad's diploma from Indiana University, my mom's diploma from SLU. And so, I knew at some point it was something I wanted to do. Now, there were times where I was like, do I really need it? I had the opportunity to play professional sports. Do I really need it? But I still felt incomplete. And it was tough for me to talk to, whether it be my kids at home or kids I work with, kids I coach, to tell them, if you start something, finish it without having that degree, without starting college and finishing that degree. So it became very important to me. And it got to the point where I was like, I'm going to finish it. Nobody's going to stop me. I've got to lock in and, show everybody that I'm serious about this.
Nice. So. Take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap things up with a few comments on Demetrius Johnson. Stay with us.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
The University of Missouri just lost one of its top alumni, Demetrius Johnson. All Big 8 player, all pro in the NFL. You must have crossed paths a few times over the years.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be able to meet him a couple times in Mizzou, a couple times here in the St. Louis area. And the one thing I really loved about him was his energy and his commitment to, not only the University of Missouri, but to the city of St. Louis and what he did for so many young athletes and helping them in the environments that they were in and the situations that they were in, helping develop those guys and give them some sort of direction towards the future.
done so much for the St. Louis community, and he continues to do so. He has created a foundation which gives back to the community by providing food for those in need and highlighting some outstanding young athletes in the area.
And in addition to all of those things, he's also the host of Sunday morning radio show on Hot 104.1, The Demetrius Johnson Show.
That's a catchy name. Here he is to tell us more about the foundation and about the endeavors that he's been going through. So please help us welcome Demetrius Johnson.
My foundation has been in existence for over 20 plus years. But we've always ran it, going lease space or people donate us different opportunities. This time, the city of St. Louis said we want a partnership with you. We want to work with you and give you an opportunity to really expand, the things that you've done in this community. So they asked us, would we be willing to take over the West End Recreation Center? When I took over that facility, I wanted to make sure we make an impact on lives, not just in a sporting deal. We know sports is a caveat to get folks to come. However, it is very important, if you're going to succeed in this country, you got to be able to do the basic essentials of survival, reading and writing. So an education is very important. We always talk about folks don't want a better life, but we got to give them the expectation to want that. So we have made a tremendous effort to make sure any kid or any person, we've had them from 17-year-old to 45-year-old get their GED. Because it changed their lives. It truly changed their lives. And I'm truly blessed to be surrounded by people. None of my staff at the DJCF Eddie Mae Binion Center get paid. Everybody is volunteer.
Wow.
And they've been dedicated their lives to try to make a difference in other people's lives.
Welcome to the 20th annual Demetrius Johnson Charitable Foundation Celebrity Golf Tournament. Man, it is kicking. Let me thank everybody for always coming out and supporting this event. This event is very important to me and our community of St. Louis, because we go out and do things to try to help the kids. I even got my man here, Kevin. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Now, and his father works here at the golf course, and
I've been doing tournaments all my life.
That's what I'm talking about. And guess what he did for me? What did you do for me today?
I got him trash. I opened up the high school, which was Southern Cafe Time Funny.
That's what I'm talking about. See, we got the whole community behind us. And man, look here, Coach. You surprised how nice it is, Coach?
Well, you know what? When it comes to you, DJ, I'm not surprised because you only do the best, baby. So, we appreciate it.
I'm telling you, when I look back on my life sometime, Raina, you get amazed of what, the things that you endured that you didn't know anything about because it was your environment. Now, when I've been blessed enough to see other ways of living, it tells me that, wow, I was really blessed and fortunate to have a great mother and a great family and folks in the community who really look out for me. It's very difficult for me to see a kid crying with pain for something that's hurting them. It's always been something in my life that I can never deal with that. So I'm really passionate about trying to help kids. That's my deal. Adults are fine, their lives are what they are. And what I tell my daughters all the time, my life is what it is. It's your life I'm more concerned about. I gotta make sure in my life that I can make a change in the life of our kids. That's our future, man. That's all we got. And we can't preserve the integrity of our kids. We can't preserve the integrity of nothing.
Because I tell you, if anybody ever listened to me or heard our show on Sunday morning, I got to give a little shameless plug. Here, our show on Sunday morning, they know we keep it real. You know how the young folks say keep it 100? We keep it 100. And we want to make sure we do that, because if we don't be real about what's going on, we're going to continue to have the same problems we've had.
You're going to get galvanized by the respect people have for you and what you do in the community. You may not see all the things, she may not see all the things, but I guarantee you, if those organizations, these organizations are doing what they say they are doing, the people who are being affected by it and who's really benefit from it, I guarantee they're going to be the ones that speak for you.
Good afternoon and welcome to JFL Football on Stl TV. Demetrius Johnson, Kevin Pulley. We are here for the 14 Unlimited Super Bowl JFL Championship. DJ, Columbia, the Colts take on the Junior Rams of City Rec.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's two interesting teams. The contrasts are very distinct. You have the City Rec, who loves to pass the ball. You have the Columbia Colts, who like to run the ball. Bohannon is playing fearlessly. That's the right thing. Yeah, that's a good description of Bohannon. Fearlessly. He's getting the ball. He's doing whatever he wants to do, and that's confident. When you have that kind of confidence, that's what you do. He made a nice run for a nice touchdown. Then he gets the ball and try to go downfield again.
And welcome to the Sportsway. Demetrius Johnson in the house. My man DJ Tab is bringing it live once again. DJ Tab, thank you, player. I got a great show lined up tonight, man. I got arguably one of the best running backs to ever come out of the state of Missouri. This guy was big time. He played at Riverview High School, and then he was, he's like a lightning rod too. He leaves Riverview, goes to East St. Louis, he plays over there, does well, then goes to the University of Missouri. That's my man, D Nash. What's up, D?
What's going on?
How you doing, man? Welcome to the Sportsway, man.
Appreciate it.
We all one tragedy away from being homeless, and that's the reality. So that's why we take time to make sure we go out and do this every year. You're gonna have some hell of a stories, you're gonna get good experience. Some of you guys have never been out before, you're gonna have a hell of an experience because you'll see families crying, you'll see emotions. It's a hell of a deal, and I look forward to this every year. This is the event that keeps me grounded. This is a gentleman who's in the autism program. This is what it's all about. Working with young men like him, man, and changing their lives and giving them an opportunity to be successful. This is what it's all about. I love this guy, man.
Yeah, I love you too, DJ.
Demetrius Johnson, we have nothing else to say. We'll see you next year.
And that's our show for today. We'd especially like to thank Justin Gage for joining us and the St. Louis Battlehawks for making this show possible. I'm Todd Blackstock. Thanks for watching Inside Sports on Stl TV. Experience St. Louis.